Showing us already.
Okay.
Yes. Hi everyone.
Hey everybody, can you hear us?
Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay, I'm gonna test. Okay, this is our really first time here live. So can you, if you see us, can you say hi to us so that you can hear us well? Let's see. Yeah.
Right here.
If you don't mind, can let us know who you are and where you're from and where you're watching. I know we have different subscribers there from different places, like Canada or some other provinces.
The US or
Right.
from elsewhere worldwide.
So, perfect. Yes. Rocky, thank you. Okay. Thank you for watching. So,
yeah, thanks so much for coming today.
And if you have any questions or maybe any comments you want to let us know, please feel free to use the comments down below.
Or the chat box.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So, okay. We are so happy that we are starting off really first.
This is our very first time, literally, this is our very first time trying out YouTube Live. So,
right.
We're still learning the ropes of this process. So please bear with us.
Yes, I've done live in my another channel like years ago, and I completely forgot how to do it. So if anything happens, please bear with us and let us know. Okay. Today we're going to talk about transitions because it's September. I know lots of parents they have had some good or bad experiences, and if you do have anything to share with us, please do so. And otherwise, we're just going to go over some of the questions we have received. And
to be honest with you, as a parent myself, because my son just started kindergarten, in my personal opinion, I feel like September is usually the worst month of the year. Why? Because everybody's transitioning. I think it's not just for the kids, but for parents as well. Like imagine, right, during the summertime, there's not a lot of structure or routine, and bam, in September, the kids are going back to school, right? So, to be honest with you, as a parent, I can still remember, even as a kid myself, going through this process. It can be quite mentally taxing, right? Can be overwhelming for me, right? Because all of a sudden now you're going back to school, right? So emotionally can be challenging to deal with, because you're transitioning from something that you really enjoy doing to something that you may not like as much, especially when it involves work and routine, right? So that usually can be a difficult process. And now as a parent myself, there's a lot of preparations to do in order to prepare my child for kindergarten, right? It doesn't matter if that child's going to kindergarten or not. Even if your child is going to high school, I think the process and the mental exercise that you have to go through, I don't think it's that much different, to be honest.
That's right. And also you get so overwhelmed with a lot of information. If you're like transitioning from preschool to kindergarten, probably you have to attend so many orientation, and then the kids have to go through graduate entry and with different schedules. So, but then I think after these couple of weeks, like now it's already like fourth week, things should have been settled down quite a little bit. So hopefully everybody is feeling good. Feeling
absolutely.
calm.
And obviously, at least in Canada, I'm not sure about like in the US or any other countries around the world. We have what we call the IEP season, right? Individual Education Plan, and that's when, at least here in Metro Vancouver area, they do have resource teachers that are assigned to the students, as well as education assistants. Obviously, the terminologies for those staff may not be the same through school districts, but that's when they start to get to know the child a little bit better, and the parents will start to communicate with resource teachers and education assistants to get started with identifying goals, right? Like challenges, strengths, learning style, etc. And that's to prepare for the individual education planning meeting that usually held between October and November. So yeah, it can be a process for sure. So, but once we get a hang of it, then things should become a lot smoother.
Right. Since we only have about 30 minutes today, we're trying to cover. Hopefully we can cover like 3 questions.
3 or 4 questions, right? As much as we can. Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
So maybe I should get started. So I just typed the first question in the chat box. It's about morning routine struggle, because this is also something we heard from parents a lot. So the first question for Henry to answer is, okay, my child melts down every morning when it's time to stop playing and get dressed for school. Even if I give a 5-minute warning, the transition always ends in tears. What can I do?
So, yeah, very common struggle. Yes, my son, this is my lived experience as well. My son sometimes will struggle through that, especially when he doesn't have a good sleep the night before, which is will happen, no matter how much you like it or not. It is reality, right? So I think definitely one of the things that I would highly recommend is what we call the visual schedule. To be honest with you, visual schedules are super effective in terms of organizing the child's mind, right? Cognitively, if you think about autism, right, part of the characteristics of autism is the challenge to mentally organize someone, one's own mind, right, so that it becomes easier to process and to organize their own thoughts and organize their daily routines. So visual schedules are really effective because it does involve using pictures, right, and it involves flowcharts. So for example, in that type of situation where the child is having challenges with moving on from one activity to the next during the morning routine, what we can do is we can set up a visual schedule for the morning routine. So for example, it could be a 5-step process, right? Step 1, for example, is getting off the bed. Step 2 is get dressed. Step 3 is brush your teeth, then eat your breakfast, and then finally getting ready for school. So if that's what the morning routine looks like, then one of the things that would be highly preferable, especially when autistic kids and individuals, right, they need preparation because they typically need extra time to prepare in their mind mentally, right? So what we can do is once we set up the visual schedule for the morning routine, then before we actually run this visual schedule for the next morning, be sure to go through this morning routine in advance with your child. That's really important because it gives him or her an opportunity to mentally get prepared. So during this time, we can talk about what the expectations are for the visual schedule and what the expected and unexpected behaviors, or appropriate or inappropriate behaviors and expectations for the child during the morning routine. And then if it's necessary, we can also go through the steps and maybe rehearse it with your child just to make sure the expectations are clear for that child. So that's how I would do it.
Right.
Yeah, based on my experience.
Yes.
No.
Yes. I think that's great.
Do you concur?
Yeah, I think that's totally, like, I mean, the visual schedule is always really important for them to know, and timer, it's really important, like for the 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
Official timer would be
Yeah,
the
so
best.
actually, it's interesting because I was just talking about that to my learner's mom just yesterday during my overlap. It's really interesting because some kids may not have, they might know a little bit about time, but they don't understand the difference between, say, 1 hour or 30 minutes and things like that. I highly recommend the visual timer. We're very fortunate now we have apps for that. But back in the day, 20 years ago, at least here in Metro Vancouver, they cost $40. $40 Canadian dollars to buy one. And it blows my mind how expensive it is because it used to be a specialist tool, right, for educators.
Is it that expensive now?
I still remember vividly. It used to cost like $30, $40.
But I think now you can probably download
an app. Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
I
it should be free, I guess.
It's free. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
There's a lot of apps for that now. It blows my mind, right?
Yeah.
How how far technology has gone since 20 years ago, right? Like 15 to 20 years ago. So
exactly. So I think that would really help because lots of our learners, they do not know what does that mean. If you say 5 more minutes, 3 more minutes, they don't know. They don't understand. So
I think it's really, really good to give advance warning in terms of the amount of time left. Again, this goes to the notion of mentally preparing the child for transitions.
Exactly.
And mental preparation and explaining what the expectations are in advance is going to be a common theme for today's live Q&A, because for today's theme is going to be about transitions, and getting the child prepared is a big theme here for today.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Henry.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then we have another question about leaving preferred activities.
Right.
I think this is also a really common one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this parent asks, at the playground, my son refuses to leave when it's time to go home. I usually end up carrying him out while he's screaming. How can I make these transitions less stressful?
Again, two things here that I'm going to
Mm.
talk about. The first thing is something that I've just mentioned
Mm.
for the first question is um, definitely it's not easy to deal with these situations after the fact because like your child's emotions are already this high, right, at 100, right, in terms of level of frustration. So in this situation, obviously your child's going to have a lot of opportunities to to go back to the playground, play again next time, right? So as I said earlier, my recommendation is to set up either a visual schedule or it could be a social script, right? What the expectations are, expected and unexpected behaviors at the playground, especially during transitions from going for the playground to get into the car or walking back home. So these things are I would definitely emphasize in this type of visuals, in this type of script, social stories or social scripts, right? Another thing that I would do in terms of the timer is several ideas, right? So we set a visual timer. Be sure to set, give advance warnings to the child the amount of time is remaining until it's time to leave the playground to go home, right? Another idea, I think this is going to be an interesting one, is to offer the child choices, right? Do you want 3 more minutes at the playground or 5 more minutes at the playground? Giving the child the ownership
Right.
of this transition, I think would come a long way. Here's the common thing I say to parents quite a lot, right? As parents, we do know what's best for our kids, but we don't necessarily know what the child wants at the very moment. So I think that's really really important to differentiate, right? Like sometimes kids' preferences can change at any second, right? So I think that's something that I think as parents we need to appreciate as well. So yeah, giving the child a choice. Do you want 3 more minutes or 5 more minutes? 5 more minutes of playground would be a good idea. Also, and another way to do it, if you want, yeah, the 5 minutes is over. We can ask the child, do you want some extension? Like in my scenario with my son, a lot of times he does say, oh no, it's too short, it's too fast, right? Sometimes I would actually offer him, do you want 2 more minutes of extra time? But after 2 more minutes, no time extensions.
Right.
Obviously, no kid would follow directions 100% of the time, but I find that strategy to be quite helpful.
But we have to make sure that after that last chance, it's really, you really mean it. It's
Yeah.
really the last one, because you
Absolutely.
cannot keep saying that, oh, if he asks for 5 more minutes, oh, it's too short, it's complaining.
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
you're, oh, okay, give you another 5 minutes, give you another 5 minutes. So then he will learn that, oh, okay, so actually I can just ignore you next time. I'll just expect you to give me more time.
This is what I'm going to say, right? I say to parents all the time, right? Kids make good lawyers. Do you know why? Because kids are very smart. They will find loopholes to exploit and push the boundaries even further. So I say I say this to the kids, and it's very true. Kids make good lawyers. That's what I think.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
We actually got a question from Rocky.
Oh, that's good.
So maybe we can answer his question before we go on to the next
Let's
one,
do that.
right?
So unable to sit down to eat, keep running around.
Aw.
Oh yeah, this is a big one.
Yes, right.
My son's like that too sometimes.
We hear that a lot. So we have to know, like, does he have like his own set of things? I think we always remind parents to let the kid know that, okay, this area is his, and then like there's a placemat and then the cup and everything. So he knows this area.
Yeah.
He belongs to that area when he eats. So that's, I think, is first of all, we have to do that.
And we need to figure out, like, if the food like your child is eating, is it preferred or not? Like, does your child actually enjoy eating this food or actually hates it? So I think it's important to also figure that out as well. Obviously, if your child enjoys eating that particular food item during the meal, understandably, it's more likely he or she will sit for longer periods of time compared to vice versa. So I think that's important. Also, we need to think about whether your child is hungry or not at that moment, because states of hunger really really is a big factor in terms of concentration to finish the meal.
Right. So we have to figure out so what he likes to eat. If
No.
he or she is a picky eater, we have to figure that out
No.
first. And also we have to know, like we have to set a time, like how long do you want your child to sit? Like it's he or she not able to sit for 5 minutes. So maybe we can just like expect for 1 minute or even just 30 seconds
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we praise, because like for what we do, we always want to find the time to praise the child instead
Yeah.
of like punishing them, right? So I would say, yeah, just try to give, like expect maybe like 1 minute. Like if he can sit for 1 minute, then you can let him go, and then you can get maybe after 2 minutes you can ask him to come back again, so that he feels more successful instead
Yeah.
of like, oh, he is like being put at the table to sit for like 10 minutes. That's too much, too long for him. If this is really challenging for your child right now, why not just kind of like adjust
Yeah.
our
Oh, yeah.
expectation?
No.
So but then we always have to find the baseline, like how long can he sit now? So can we start with something small, something short for the for
Yeah.
now?
You know what? I was going to say that, like, to
Yeah.
connect your point, right, is, well, does your child, so for example, right, like during this meal, maybe one of the reasons that, your child is not able to sit for very long is,
Mhm.
does he feel overwhelmed? Let's just say that we give him a big portion of the meal, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes I feel like kids may get overwhelmed and they're less likely to sit and focus on finishing the meal. I don't rule that out.
Mm.
So if this is something that maybe your child may get overwhelmed and not being able to focus, maybe we can think about giving him smaller portions of the meal to start off with,
Mhm.
to feel success. And I think this is also would be very beneficial to encourage the child to actually have a feeling of finishing the meal in the first place, right?
Mhm.
Because I do feel like sometimes kids they have a habit of not finishing the meals and just leave, right? So this would also address the issue of meal completion as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe like Rocky can let us know your situation so that we can
Oh,
explain a little bit
absolutely.
more, or like
Yeah.
just yeah, can we can kind of like know more, because every
Yeah.
child's different and all families they do differently, and
And,
yeah.
and another extreme, maybe this might be a bad cop role, right? Is maybe to set, like, once we know how long the child is able to sit for a meal typically, right? We can perhaps think about setting the maximum amount of time that the child can eat before removing the meal.
Mhm.
So for example, typically, maximum 20 to 30 minutes to finish a meal, right? So we set a timer for that child. Maybe there's 5 more minutes left to the meal. We remind him or her, there's 5 more minutes to the meal. If you don't finish, too bad. I'm sorry, right? We'll have to take it away.
Right.
So hopefully this would encourage the child to finish the meal a little bit quicker.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about like a picky eater, those issues, then that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story. Oh yeah, that's another
Right.
story for sure.
So yeah, it depends on the situation. So
I mean, some of these like strategies obviously are very broad and very general. So it is important um, to find what is best for your child. And obviously, these strategies are are always going to be customized for each kid. And obviously, as behavioral consultants, we're not able to address any issues that are medical in nature. So if you have any questions or concerns that's medical in nature, I would actually refer those questions to either your pediatrician,
Mhm.
nutritionists, or your family doctor instead. That's what I think.
That's right.
Oh, Rocky has another question. That's a good one.
Okay.
Touching their own private part and getting upset when interrupted. Haha, this is a very good question.
I don't see it here yet.
It's right here.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. Right.
Maybe you can answer that one, Sally. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, how old is your child? I would like to know, because like I do have lots of kiddos. They do that, but it depends on how old. Remember, Henry, like we went to a workshop like years ago. They were talking about like lots of kids. They do that because it's kind of a sensory thing that like from really really young age
Yes, I have
babies
some. I have
until
some.
like
Yeah,
you're a
I have
teenager,
some
they do
recollections.
do that. But then maybe for our learners, they do not know when is the appropriate time to do that. So okay, there are different situations. I need to know how old, but then I can give you like an example.
Yeah.
So for kids when they're a little bit older, I mean for younger kids, you might not kind of okay, just you can easily ignore them. But then when they're older, there is school age kids, if they do that, that can be like really disturbing, or like you want to kind of, "Oh, let's fix it," right? So but I don't know where you're from, but then for us in Canada, like our case, like most of us, like they don't have to wear uniform, so they can just wear any clothes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if
Oh,
they're
4
okay,
4 years
that's
old.
really little. Okay. So lots of kids, they do it for fun. I would say
My son does that too.
yeah, lots
From
of
time to
boys, they
time.
do that. It just feels good. Like lots of our behavior, it depends. This is one of the reasons, right?
Here's the thing, Rocky. I think we got to figure out whether a child is doing that because it feels good, or he or she is doing that to get our attention,
Mm,
or to want to get maybe it's to it's to maybe obtain certain things, right? As a way to communicate, right? So I think it'll be important to figure that out as well, because I think once we call this functions of behavior, or
Right.
the reasons or the factors leading to the child's behavior, right? Once we figure that out, then it's much easier to pinpoint what the possible strategies may look like, right? Because here's the thing: if the behavior is due to like escape versus due to getting attention, the strategies will be very different.
Exactly. And also we have to, yeah, I'm just assuming, okay, let's say this is like for fun, not about like attention seeking. And then also it depends on like how you react to it. If you make like a big reaction, like, and then like just like stop it right away, he might feel scared, or maybe he feels like, oh, so shocked or like really upset about that. So we can try to redirect, which we always do. Don't make it like a big deal, but then try to, every time he does that, you try to redirect him. Or another thing, we have tried.
One of the things
Yeah.
that I would recommend doing,
Mhm.
based on my experience,
Mhm.
we can, maybe gently, maybe prompt his hands out of his pockets as well, like away from his pants as well, or her pants. So I think, for the okay, yeah. So okay. So for the own fun, so this is
Okay.
definitely what we call automatic reinforcement. So he's doing it because it feels good, right? So
Yeah.
I think in those situations, one of the ways to do it, is one, we can lay out what the expected behaviors are and unexpected behaviors, or actually no, backtrack a little bit. One of the ways to do it is highlight when it is appropriate to touch yourself versus not appropriate, right? So we can highlight the fact that, using visuals perhaps, right, that, okay, you know what, I think people should, people do have the right to sexual lives, right? Like some people believe in it. I do in a way do, but you have to do it in a way that is appropriate, right? So set those boundaries there early with the child. I think would be really good.
And then also,
Oh,
so I
we
think
went
there are
okay,
so many
okay.
like so much information,
No.
but then but I also have some learners. We've seen this. It's not something
Yeah.
uncommon. We tell them to just go wash their hands, because even at school,
Yeah.
when a kid, like, if they if they pick their nose, if they do inappropriate things, touching or things like that, I mean, this is really common that the teacher will ask the child to, oh, let's go wash your hands,
Yeah.
because this is like hygiene
Yeah.
issue, right? So I mean, this is also like a pretty common consequence.
Yeah.
And we're not punishing him, it's just letting him know that, oh, okay, once you do it, you have to go wash your hands. And after a couple of times, this behavior might go away, just because they didn't want to wash their hands after doing it. And then they know if they do it in the washroom, then nobody will tell them to. And then so they eventually will figure out, oh, okay, actually I cannot do it like when I'm playing with toys, when I do anything I touch, because people see me, and then they will ask me to go wash my hands, so they can learn like that way. So yeah, hopefully you can try all these different strategies. And also for a little bit older kids, sometimes this can just like continue, without sometimes maybe parents don't really notice it when they're younger, and then after they get a little bit older, like maybe 7 or 8 years old, they still do that. Then we might recommend them to, oh, what about not to wear sweatpants to school? Let's wear something tighter, so that they cannot easily put their hands inside of the hands, and then so something like that. So there are so many different strategies we can try, but yeah, it depends.
Especially when I think
the
about
child.
when as the kids get older.
Yeah.
Especially getting to puberty, I think that's opening a can of, I don't want to, for lack of a better term, opening a can of worms.
Yeah.
But to make that kind of brief, I think we also have to set the boundaries in terms of masturbation in this situation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, for their own fun and do what do when we can. Oh, okay.
So he
he
would.
can do
So
it
your
when you
so
cannot
yeah,
see.
can
So
see.
do you
No.
mean like he will do it in like a private place?
Setting.
Well, I mean that might be a good sign though, because that means he knows he's not supposed to.
But he's understanding the
Right?
boundaries,
He
right?
it seems to you like he understands the boundary of like he knows it's not.
No.
He's not supposed to do it, because if he's doing it when you cannot see it.
Yeah.
But then you also, I think you don't want him to do it when other people are around, but just not you. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it makes sense.
Definitely, it is a balance, right?
Yeah,
it is a balance that we have to set boundaries, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but
Let's try that. Let's try to maybe get him to wash his hands.
Absolutely.
And also redirect him when he's touching. Maybe he can tell him, like, introduce more other things for him to do. We do have lots of kids that do that. They do that too. Maybe in school, maybe during circle time, they just don't even know that they're doing that. So maybe we have and teachers can offer them some like kind of like fidget toys to play
Definitely.
with, and then so then that attention gets shifted to something else. That's but then I understand, because this is just part of his body, so he doesn't need to grab any other thing to do it.
And I
It's
also
fun.
think that a lot of kids at that age, they're trying to explore themselves, right? So whatever they find something that's pleasurable, they may do it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that is unusual, to be honest.
Yeah, or we can teach the kids to maybe like sit on their hands if they are, instead of like playing other things. So yeah,
there's a lot of different possibilities there.
So let us know if like you will try any of these strategies, and then if you find those like maybe helpful for you. Okay, so yeah, keep commenting. Okay, we can just keep moving on.
We have about,
And how about
6 more minutes, right?
Okay, we just have a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
Or should we briefly talk about the next one?
Briefly go
This
through
one?
it. Yeah, that's right. Bedtime battles.
Yeah.
So my child has a hard time stopping video games at night to get ready for bed. Oh yeah, this is a common.
Mhm.
I hear this all the time. We argue almost every night. What strategies can help us make bedtime smoother? So, yeah, because this one can be a challenging one, especially for teenagers, because video game addiction is a big thing.
Mhm.
As I said, visuals would be a really good idea.
Mm.
However, what can be very difficult biologically is that there's a lot of brainwave activity, right? When you play video games, you get overexcited, right? Then when you go to bed, it's very hard to go to bed because you're still in a very overly excited state that maybe the child is not really ready to go to bed biologically, right? So I think in this situation, I think it's really important to set the boundary when it is appropriate to play video games, and I wouldn't recommend nighttime, right before bedtime, to play video games. It's to set that really hard boundary. Maybe you can have only 30 minutes before dinner time when you finish your homework to play a bit of video games, right? But after dinner time, you're done. We're going to do some quiet activities, right, before going to bed. I highly recommend maybe encouraging the child to do quieter or calmer activities before bedtime.
Yeah, I think so. But I also understand that lots of parents are super duper busy, especially at night, because you have to prepare dinner, you have to wash the dishes, you have lots to do, and lots of working parents as well. So I would say maybe let's do like just what's that called again, Henry? Like you can set up the parental
parental lock program,
so that,
apps on
an app on the device, so that your child won't be able to go online like after maybe 9 o'clock or something. So it's automatically
I think so, yeah.
blocked, because it's kind of like really difficult to to keep track every day. Parents are not like BIs, like they're with the kid like 2 hours straight, and then it's just not the same. So parents at home at night, we have tons of things to do. We might forget things might come up. So I would say this is number one thing we should do, and then and then we can try the things that Henry just suggested. Give
even like if it's not parental locks, even Wi-Fi access, right? Those are definitely options that we can consider in terms of in terms of playing video games until nighttime.
And then I think reward system works as well, so that when the kid knows that, oh, okay, if I do certain things at night, or not playing video games, well, you can depend on like how you want to say it, right? You can say, oh, at night, if you can draw a picture before you go to bed, then you get something tomorrow morning or something.
To be honest with you, I think especially with teenagers, based on my experience, what I find is that natural sources of rewards, I think tends to be a little bit more effective, just because I think there's some kids or even teenagers, right? They don't really care about external motivators because they think it's just feels weird, it feels unnatural. I think some of the kids may be over that already, right? They're too young for the kids, right? So I think in these situations, I think it would be really, really beneficial if we introduce naturally occurring sources of rewards. So, for example, if you finish this, then you can play video games, right? If you finish this thing that I want you to do, then you get to do the things that you like to do. But like, for example, go for a bike ride, bike time for 30 minutes. So I think a lot of these things can involve privileges that your child may prefer. I feel like that can be a little bit more effective as well.
All right, that's great. So yeah, I mean, there's so many different strategies and so many different rewards we can try. I mean, if you have tried something that works for you, please let us know. Comment down below and also share with other parents. So hopefully other parents can also get benefits from your suggestions or your experience. And
I would highly prefer, if you want, you can also share this video on your own Facebook page. And just feel free to drop us a line if you have any other questions. Please feel free to comment down below in this video, in this live chat. And if you have any suggestions in terms of what what topic you would like us to address next time in our live Q&A session, that would be great, because I think it would be exciting for us to address those questions.
Exactly. So yeah, I would like to say thank you so much for joining us today. This is our very first time, as I mentioned.
There you go.
Sure how we did it, but we did it. So yeah,
I actually do enjoy it. I do. To be honest with you, like based on my personal experience now, for the first 30 minutes of live Q&A, I feel like this is great because it's natural for us, right?
Yes.
This is great. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop us a line.
And I think we'll see you next time.
See you guys next time.
Next month, probably. Yeah, we'll let you guys know. Stay tuned, okay?
Please stay tuned.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Yep.
Bye now.
Bye. Talk to you guys later.